everyone, welcome to the first video in a new segment, something I've been intending to do for a long time, which is a Singularity Computers question and answer segment. And I'm going to try to do at least one of these videos per month, but probably more. We'll see how we go. Now, the reason I'm actually doing this now is because I wanted to address some issues, and instead of just addressing the issues, making a video about that, I thought I'd turn this into something good, and something good can come out of something bad. And so this can be the first video in the new Q&A segment. Now, what have I been doing on my channel all of these years? What was my very first video? Well, it was a video about a motherboard. I was covering an Asus motherboard, the specifications. I was doing a very bad job with my first video, but that was a very long time ago. Well, that's really the focus of my channel, is components, hardware. It always has been, because I'm building systems, but as I'm building them, what I really have a passion for is the hardware. And so I cover in detail every component I use in my builds. I always have. Now, if it's a component I've used 100 times, I'll just brush over it. But if it's a component I'm using for the first time, something new, even if it's the first 10, 20 times, I'll cover it in quite some detail. And if it is the very first time, I'll cover it in a lot of detail. I've even spent 10 minutes covering a single component. And so that is just part of my channel. And that ends up being great advertising for a lot of companies who don't even ask for it. Asus, for example, Corsair, all of the big companies that I've spent a lot of my time advertising have never asked for it, never paid for it, but I do it anyway, because if they make great components, I don't care who they are, I'm going to talk about them, I'm going to use them, because that's what I do. I have a passion for it, I love the hardware, I love using it. And if it makes a great addition to one of my builds, then I'm going to use it. Now, if people ask me the prices of my builds on my channel, I've never answered them. Not one person have I ever given a price. And I've never talked about pricing in videos because it looks like advertising. So anything that could even remotely look like advertising, I have steered far away from. Yet, I'm spending all of my time advertising everybody else, constantly building up everybody else, and often those very people that I have spent years advertising are the ones that have used my ideas. Recently, I decided to go ahead and create my own products because it's about time. So far, I have mostly avoided talking about it on my channel. I've mentioned it once, other than last night, my most recent video, Client Build 22 Part 2. I mentioned it once in moderate detail, spent about a minute on it, and then another couple of times I just brushed over it, maybe 5-10 seconds. But that was months and months ago. And now, with all of the questions that I've had about the product, no one even knows what it is, what it can do, how it's built, nothing about it, where it sells, nothing. And so I thought it was about time I mentioned it again. And it turns out I'm using it in one of my builds, and so I thought to myself, okay, I know what the reaction is going to be. I already knew what the reaction was going to be, I actually thought that people would go more crazy about it. But I had the part there, I thought, I'm going to use this in the build. I'm going to talk about all of the other parts. Why would I avoid talking about my own part just to satisfy, a few trolls? And so I decided to talk about it. But, the issue that people have created about this, I have an amazing group of incredible fans. And, you guys understand common sense and don't have any kind of a problem with what I did. You understand it perfectly. You know how the world works. I'm talking about my fans who are, not Arrested Development. They're adults, they're grown up, they're in business, they know how the world works. And really, it's not even about that. It was just the fact, it's not even about business. It's just the fact that I was using that part, and so I was going to talk about it, just like I do every other part. And the reason I spent more time on it is because I thought that that would be an inspiring story to people, to find out how I launched a product, so that you can maybe get inspired and go and launch your own product. But people don't take it that way. Well, some people don't take it that way because they have a conquest mindset where instead of going and creating their own thing and being inspired by others who do that and helping to build them up and all, work towards a common goal of creating technology or whatever it may be, they focus on bringing other people down and stealing ideas. That is really their focus. So there are creators, and then there are people who would just rather watch the world burn. They enjoy, for their own ego, but we all know this, my fans know this and what's going on. I don't make anything from YouTube. I get about 2 cents an hour, okay? So with 2 cents an hour, what could I do? Well, I couldn't even live in a caravan and make pretend videos. Would that be very entertaining for you? And I mean, you could say that all of my videos are advertising for me because I'm showing my builds, which I have to sell to survive, on video. The other issue that I need to talk about is video length. Now, people just need to understand that I'm not just making vlogs and doing reviews, which I could do in a day with ease, I could do a review every day. I could do a vlog every day. I could do lots of them every day. What I do, just the work that I'm filming, can sometimes take a month. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks. So then on top of that, there's the filming, the editing, and everything else, which is on top of the work. Even if I didn't make videos at all, that work would still take me, 2 weeks to a month, whatever it may be. Client build 22, the paint job, it took me 5 days, okay? So that's 5 days without any videos. Then I have 2 days left to edit that video and to get that video up, and that's still only one video in an entire week, which is nowhere near good enough because I'm supposed to be doing 3 videos. And still, it's not long enough, it might be 10 or 15 minutes. So what I have to do is shorten my videos, just do whatever I can to get those 3 videos out every week. If I spend 5 days on a paint job, well, that means I'm going to have to do some other videos and somehow fit them in, squeeze them in, because I'm already working 16 hours a day. I can't do any more than I'm already doing. I'm going as fast and as hard as I can. This is all I can do. If you want 30-minute videos, well, I can do a 30-minute video, awesome build log video, but it'll take me 2 weeks. That's the problem. So that's the other issue. I thought that this would be great to set off some good conversation and some good, questions, probably some hard ones. And I thought this would be some good issues to get this segment started, the Q&A segment. And a lot of what I'm doing, when I first set out to start my workshop, nearly 2 years ago now, which ended up, I had everything stolen from me. I was left with $1,000 in my account. And I went out and spent that $1,000 starting my reservoir mounts, and that's how they started. But I said, when I set out to start that, this is a journey for all of us together. Now, what I meant by that is that I want to start doing videos because this channel is my life and it's about my life. I want to start doing videos about business, how to start a computer business and all of that. And so in talking about the reservoir mounts, that's what I'm doing. I'm giving you valuable business information. I told you in that video how I launched them, how I started and all of that. And so, to anyone with a little bit of common sense, you'd realize, well, I mean, for me, if I saw that information, I'd be like, wow, okay, that's some good inside information. It's inspiring that he was able to do that. Maybe I can do that myself. I'm the sort of person who, I'm humble, and so I'll let people walk all over me. And I've made that mistake too many times now. I've let people walk all over me. That's how I got ripped off in the workshop. That's how I lost everything a couple of years ago, last year. So this video is me standing up for myself because I have to stop letting people walk over me because it doesn't do me any good. And if it was just me, I wouldn't care at all. Whatever. I don't care. But it's my family here. I'm protecting my family. Most of all, you just need to remember that I'm not one of the big multi-million-dollar companies that I've spent a lot of my time advertising and given a lot of my ideas to. I'm just a guy trying to keep a roof over his head, and I'll do whatever I have to do to survive. I mean, of course I have goals and dreams and aspirations, but really they're just the exact things that you guys want to see out of me anyway, which is more builds, crazier builds, more videos, more of my own personal projects. I want to go back to experimentation, overclocking, breaking world records, which I've done. And now that I have the ability to create components, combining that with overclocking and pushing the boundaries of the hardware is just going to be insane. And I will do whatever I have to do to get there. And I've tried everything. I mean, I've tried being a YouTube partner. It brought me a few cents a day. I've tried building custom systems for survival. And, it was enough, but not to do more. I just want to build more. You guys want more videos? That's what I'm trying to do. Everything that I've done is just to make that possible. And, Patreon was an incredibly important step for me. It was a turning point. I was either going to go in the direction of the big companies and, become commercialized and work with them, or I gave my choice to my viewers and I launched a Patreon campaign, and we did incredibly well. It was just amazing to see the support. The Patreon campaign has allowed me to do so much. I have new microphones, that one there, the one I'm using now, new camera equipment, I have a new camera cage, I have new tripods on the way and a camera slide on the way. So a lot of the benefits you haven't seen yet. Also because right now I have a huge gap, a couple of months where I haven't even been building systems. I've managed to squeeze in a few little ones in between, but I'm waiting for the GTX 1080, the Titan X, the Rampage 5 Edition 10. Once I can get my hands on all of these parts, which is very soon now, stock is low in Australia, I'll be able to get back to building custom systems, doing heaps of build logs again. Patreon has made all of this possible, and I tell you what, without it, I definitely wouldn't be here at this point. So a huge thank you to all of you. But let me be completely honest, and you need to understand something. Patreon is, for me, nowhere near enough to survive from. If it was enough to survive from, I would dedicate all of my time, effort, and energy to whatever my patrons want to see. Okay, you would get me, because I would be able to keep a roof over my head and survive. I'd be physically able to do it. But unless I can survive, I have to do more. Patreon is not enough to survive, so I have to launch more of my ideas and more of my strategies for achieving my goals. So I think I've talked about this enough, and I hope that all of you can go out and achieve your dreams and goals as well. So thanks for watching.